Good evening. My name is Isaac Littman, and this is my listening presentation. It's called Effective Listening in Friendships. And now I'm going to show you my flashcards. And that's it. Okay, to start off my presentation, I'll just give a brief introduction on what kind of is going to be getting talked about today. My general purpose is to explain the challenges and benefits that listening can provide in friendships, and the overall kind of purpose is to show how the Hurrier model and also a variety of interpersonal listening terms can help prove how being an effective listener can overcome challenges in friendships. And just some key points I wanted to go over. Effective listening is crucial to forming valuable friendships. And when you don't give someone your full attention when they're speaking to you, it shows them that you aren't truly listening to what they're speaking about, therefore not valuing their time. Most people would say that within the friends that they could actually trust, they could actually have a valuable and meaningful conversation with them that actually makes sense, And this goes to show that if you aren't being an active and effective listener in a friendship, how well could you really know or understand someone? And then in this presentation, I'll be following Judy Brownell's Hurrier model which will help me prove that being an effective listener is very important in friendships. And then these are just some pictures that I have of me and my friends. This is kind of just to give you guys like a guideline of kind of who I'm speaking about when I talk about friends. So, yeah. So first, listening challenges within friendships. A common challenge that I have with my friends, or just friendships in general, is they actually want to hang out all the time, which is great. It's not necessarily a challenge, but for me, sometimes I like to just kind of have some alone time, hang out by myself, and I feel like a lot of the times they more pressure to hanging out, and if you don't want to hang out, they still pressure, and they just want to hang out with me, of course, but they aren't really listening to the tone or message that I'm actually sending. Which is most of the time it's like, I kind of just want to relax, or I just want to have some alone time today. This shows me that they aren't really being an effective listener. They're kind of brushing out the feeling or like the message and tone that I'm sending, and more kind of focusing on what they want. But yeah, they're failing to be a critical listener, and this could frequently lead to more challenges in the future if obviously they don't keep listening, don't keep effectively listening to friends' tones and messages, etc. And yeah, I'm going to go over critical listening more deeper into this presentation, but just to give you guys a brief definition, the definition of critical listening, according to the textbook by Worthington and Hauser, is that being a critical listener means to think about the message, make inferences, and then you evaluate both the speaker and the message, and that is on page 28. And now I'll go over the Hurrier model, which has 6 main components, which are all very beneficial to effective listening, or for effective listening, sorry. The first component is hearing. The second component is understanding. The third component is remembering. The fourth component is interpreting. The fifth component is evaluating. And the last component is responding. And the 3 components that I will be covering for effective listening in friendships will be the understanding, interpreting, and evaluating phases, and these are all vital to incorporate when you're listening to friends or vice versa, they're listening to you. The understanding phase of the model emphasizes the importance of information processing, as this phase is kind of where you comprehend what you're listening to. And the second phase is the interpreting phase of the model, which uses context from a certain type of interaction and applies your knowledge to assign a meaning to the speaker's message. So for an example of this could be used in like a deeper, more meaningful chat with someone, or someone's explaining something that you actually really need to dial in and tone into what their tone of the voice is, deep in general. And then last, the evaluating phase of a model underlines a listener applying knowledges that they already know of what they're hearing. So kind of applying their own personal experiences. An example of this is me talking to my friends about sports, for example. We talk a lot about sports, so when they talk about sports, I already know a lot about it. So this is just kind of going over what you already know and just applying to that. And mastering all three of these phases will ultimately better your effective listening and obviously help someone understand and value a conversation with someone. Be a critical listener. Critical listening is absolutely important when it comes to being in a friendship and any type of situation, honestly. And I already went over the definition earlier, but Worthington and Hauser claim that some listening scholars even believe that critical listening is one of the most important listening types. And according to another study I found called We Thrive Together, it associates critical listening with how it can enhance communication in friendships. This study correlates being a critical listener with being able to avoid misunderstandings or even arguments with friends. And if you listen clearly, understand, and interpret the message being stated by one of your peers, that will just avoid all conflict and show true signs of critical listening. The benefits of effective listening in friendships. There are many benefits of effective listening in friendships, and they are honestly huge. It is crucial in forming meaningful connections with someone. Being a critical and effective listener can strengthen trust in a friendship. You can provide more emotional availability for a friend, and if they need someone to talk to, because they obviously will think that you're a trustworthy friend to go to if you're constantly listening to them and actually showing interest in what they're talking about. Ultimately, it shows that you actually care for a friend's well-being, and according to another source I found called Building Stronger Friendships Through Communication, when we actively listen, we avoid distractions and resist the urge to interrupt. And that is by Sana, that is the author there. And this allows you to have more open communication and thoughtful exchanges with peers, which will lead to stronger emotional bonds. These are just some preferences I have. I use the three websites, also my website for the Hurrier model, and obviously the textbook. And last, just some more pictures of all my friends and me, just because I couldn't fit them in that first slide. But anyways, thank you.